you ever feel sorry for other programs like Missouri that recruit kids like Devin Booker for 5 or 6 years, and then you can come in at the end and show that this is the place for him and makes that decision?
Well, I've been on that side. I've been in Memphis and Massachusetts. And I hate to tell you, no one felt sorry for me. Duke in North Carolina came in and just, there were kids I recruited, I'd always ask them, are you recruiting the kid or not? Do you really want him? Yeah. Staff, go get somebody else. We ain't beating them. But, you know, I think again, when you look at how much guys have gotten better, that's why they come here. It's not, there were 25 guys better than him in that class. I mean, there's 25 good ones out there. And again, you know, well, only one and done's come here. That he was one and done before he came here. From Moss Point. So, you know, I'm proud of him and happy for what he's doing, and I would say his dad is extremely happy. But Missouri wasn't the only one that recruited him for 5 years. There were some other people that recruited him a long time too.
Kevin, you talk to him because, you know, going home all the emotions, not quite going home.
I haven't said anything to him right now.
Will you?
Nah, I don't think the kid will look at me like I'm crazy. You know, again, they have great attitudes, all these freshmen, but they also have the veterans there that give them an opportunity to just go do your thing, don't worry about it. You know, they don't have that hanging on them like every shot you miss or make is life and death for us to win or lose. They don't have that. But they're all performing. I mean, every one of them has done well, and, you know.
Yeah, there was a thing I saw the Golden State Warriors were talking about in the depths of the season, winning can almost become routine for a pro team at least. I'm wondering, and you talk about keeping them engaged, I wonder if there's an element of that.
Well, here's what I would tell you. There's a reason you play the games. No matter, the last score does not matter. Whether you won or lost has no bearing on the game you're about to play. Especially in college. The second point of it is, with a team like Missouri, they have one of their best players, did not play in the game. Now he's playing. I think the last game helps them a lot more than it helps us. Probably stung them a little bit. We probably played better offensively than we had in a long, long time. So, and then when I watched the game, it was 14-10 with 12 minutes to go in the half. It was 14-10, and then we kind of got it to 12, and then it kind of got away from them. But, you know, and that's without one of their best players. So I would say for us, I'm just focused on us getting better. That's all it is, and trying some new stuff and messing around and getting these guys to continue to compete against one another.
Devin said sort of the theme of the season is compete against ourselves. Are there some things you set, maybe an individual mark or goal going into each game to foster that? Let's go chase this today.
Just energy. Let's. Our whole thing is if we'll play with energy, we have a chance. Doesn't mean we win every game. And again, we're not the thought of you have to win or going undefeated. We're not talking about that. We're talking about how do we come every game with energy so we know we have a chance to win. How do we do that? How do we sustain that energy throughout a game? How do we come when teams are going to come after us and still have fun? How do we limit our errors so that our errors are forced errors, not unforced errors? It's all those things we're worried about our team. And that's what I'll do today. I'm not going to talk much about Missouri. I'm talking about us.
Will there be a point where you'll embrace that as a goal to chase something that's not been done?
It's not what I want. It's what they want.
Do they want to be on the
I have no idea. You'd have to talk to them. But we don't ever talk about it. It hasn't entered my mind. I'll give you an example. Like, people will say, you know, what does this look like? You know, winning or losing? What would it all depends. I'll give you an example of I'm at Memphis, I believe we won our first 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, whatever it was. It was a lot.
26, I think.
Okay. We're playing Tennessee in our building. It is the most, there's 5,000 people outside a 20,000 seat building watching it on screens. It is ridiculous. We're going to win the game, we fumble a ball. They make a 3 at the buzzer to beat us by 1. Was that lucky for us or unlucky for us? It all depends on how you deal with it. And for us, from that game, my team went whoop, bing, beat in the NCAA tournament, Michigan by 30 at halftime. Texas in Houston. UCLA, you want to name some of those guys? Like Love and Westbrook. There's like 9 of them, okay? They went down by 20. And we have a 9-point lead with 2 minutes to go, miss free throws, lose the national title. Tennessee, on the other hand, it was not good for them. It was unlucky because they beat us and went like that from there on in and finished the season with the dud. So
Did you prefer a loss?
it doesn't matter. It's again, how, it all depends. Depends on how we would deal with it. I know with Memphis what we did. We took that game, we cut it up, and our kids took it on and went to another level. The Indiana game, was that lucky for us or lucky for them? Was that good for us or good for them? From that point, my team went there, but you know what? It was pretty good for them. The problem was they had to face us again, and it wasn't so lucky that they had beaten us early, because there was no way my team wasn't going to win that game. And it was a great game, and they lost by 10. So we're trying to get better. We'll deal with things as they come. Got a great group of kids, so.
So at this point, is the outcome still not as important as the level of play?
Well, the outcome, if the other team really gives us, they punch us, they go and they play, and they just play out of their minds. And now we have to fight to win a game, so the outcome would matter. But if 2 teams are going at each other, and you're playing great, they're playing great, and it comes down, and all of a sudden they throw a half-court bank and beat you by 1, the outcome doesn't matter then. It's how you respond to that outcome. And that's how I've always coached. I mean, it's not life or death. You move on to the next. Now I'm going to coach to win during the game, but I'm going to be aggressive with the guys. But he's playing well. I mean, he still needs to do some stuff for us offensively, but I think he's doing fine. He's like having a 6th defender out there. And, our pick and roll defense, is really good based on the fact that we can switch with him. Our bigs are getting better. Carl and Dakari. Dakari's even better than Carl. Trying to get Marcus Lee up to where Willie is, which is hard because it's unusual. But
what can he do for you offensively that he's not doing?
More offensive rebounding, catching it 3-4 feet from the goal, get fouled. Right now he's made 85% of his last free throws the last 5-6 games, whatever that is. So get fouled. Go in there, ball fake, get fouled. He's working on a better base, being stronger.
John, with your platooning and the minutes being down, will that help the freshman avoid hitting a wall, and does it change your mindset later in the year where you start backing off in your practices? Of course you do.
Well, we're doing stuff now. I'm not ready to talk about what we're doing. It's a little different than I've ever done. I probably want to wait a week before I talk about that. But, my thing are fresh minds and fresh legs. But there's all kind of ways of doing this. You've got coaches at the end of the year that'll practice 3 hours, 3.5. They don't care. That's what they're doing. And their teams win too. Last year we did practice long at the end of the year, longer than I'd ever practiced because we had to. This team is different. I told you the shoot around, I gave them a choice. I said, spend 4 or 5 minutes together, figure out if you want to shoot around. We have to get up at 6:30, or you can have a walkthrough at 8, and we'll go over to the game. It took them 14, 15 seconds to say, we're good, we don't need to shoot around. And they played well. So I trust them, and they're making decisions what's best for them and their bodies, we ask and try to get their opinion on it, but at the end of the day, like today's practice is that one practice that we're gonna be after each other.
Two more, guys.
Can you sense you have a fresher team than most years because the minutes are down?
No, I mean, they should be, but I don't, you know. The thing that stunned me is I watched the South Carolina tape a year ago, and it was March 3rd. And 10 days later, we were like a different team. How did that happen? I don't, because I'm in the middle of it, I don't look back. But what happened? Oh my gosh. That team that I saw against South Carolina was in the championship game without Willie Colley, who we probably win the whole thing if he's playing. Without Willie Colley. I have no answer when I watch that tape. That's crazy. I guess it was a story. I don't know if it was or not. But when I saw March 3rd, because I'm thinking we played them in the middle of February. And the tape said March 3rd. I'm like, what? So what it tells you is just keep coaching, keep trying to get them better. They'll catch on. If I want to try new things, try it. They'll be fine. And our thing is we want to be at our best at the end of the year. I mean, I still think we have a long way to go, both defensively, offensively. Trying to figure out what will be our rotation later in the year. We stick with what we do, and do we go to 7 or 8? How do we do this? My druthers, I'd rather play 9 or 10 guys. That's what I'd rather do, but I'm going to do whatever puts us in the best position we need to be in.
How much did you talk to Gilsey during the recruiting process, and what did you like about him?
He was a great kid, a hard worker, very competitive, tough. He will mix it up. This will change the complexion of the game. They needed one more guy to mix it up, and that's what he'll do. Plus, he can score. He scored baskets for them, which they struggled. So, thanks.
Thanks.